Welcome back. This is round 3, right? We just finished round 3, and Jail, we'll come back to you and tell me what you thought of round 2 and round 3.
Well, let me focus on round 3. I
Go,
think it
go,
has
go.
become more and more substantive, in terms of what our candidates have been saying. In particular, I really like how Lenny has done it. She's still very calm and she's still very subdued. I think she could be a little bit more fierce, because this is a debate, right? But at the same time, I really like that she backed up her statements with a lot of facts. In particular, the one on dynastic governance and poverty. The other candidates, I think it's a shame that they hid and they tried to hide behind definitional ignorance. I think that's a cop-out, and I think that's irresponsible. Whereas here, Lenny Robredo has been very forthright about it, because there is a clear correlation between dynastic governance and poverty around the country. Claire, that's your research, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, just to live fact check this,
Please.
there is all the evidence points to a correlation between poverty in provinces
That's
and
right.
dynasties. And all our studies have shown that with each election, the dynasties just keep getting worse and worse and worse. They're deepening, they're spreading. So without a law, there's really nothing that we can do to stop the spread of dynasties. And I can't remember which one of them said, first we need to fix the poverty before, and political dynasties will naturally disappear. That's simply not true. Because the issue is, provinces are kept poor because they're ruled by dynasties. And this is perpetually going to be our problem. The other thing with Lenny Robredo's statement that I liked when they were talking about inclusive growth is finally somebody's talking about housing.
Right.
Housing is an issue that's important to the poor and important to the economy. It doesn't get mentioned a lot, but it's so important to poverty reduction. And the criticism against all the economic gains, not translating to poverty reduction, is fair. But I think there needs to be more explanation for what we can expect from each of the candidates moving forward. That's when we get to these technical issues, then we start hearing motherhood statements. Like I think
I know.
Bongbong Marcos said the first motherhood statement of the debate is he wants to give all that money back to the poor. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. He needs to tell us. I mean, is he going to be standing on a street corner giving out money? What does he mean by giving it back to the poor? And this discussion about the syntax, there's a lot of fiction to it. There's a lot of fiction to what they're saying. We have and Robredo did a good job veering it back to the fact that collections from syntax goes to
Exactly.
PhilHealth, etc., etc.
CCT.
Yes.
Interesting, Marites.
Yes, of the 6 candidates, 3 are parts or belong to dynasties. Cayetano, his wife, his sister, and himself. Marcos, his mom, and his sister, and himself. Chis Escudero, he and his mom. So that's why I was surprised. Cayetano is all out against corruption. When it comes to dynasties, he says he doesn't know what to do. So I think that's a very weak point. It's a low for him. And then also, the point that I think was raised by Honasan or somebody else, that let the people judge. Honasan said that.
think
No?
so.
So I'm surprised because he doesn't belong to any dynasty. He's supposed to be this rebel. He led a coup. He's against the system, but he's still perpetuating it. So I think this issue highlighted the dynasty subject, and it was very enlightening for me, and I think for the rest. And Lenny Robredo handled it, I think, quite well. Yeah.
It's interesting, our editors pointed out that Lenny Robredo actually forgot that she defeated a dynasty.
A dynasty.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
she
Say
ran.
that.
That's
Yeah.
originally why her husband ran, as I
Yes,
remember it.
correct.
That's
Yes.
true. That's
And
true.
and also on the production side of it, somebody needs to count those minutes. I mean, because they are giving opportunities for anyone who was implicated, and Alan Peter Cayetano keeps pointing at Bongbong Marcos. There is so much time spent between the two of them that the other candidates start fading in the background. CNN will need to check those minutes. Maybe they need to give additional minutes to some of the candidates
Right.
just to make sure the airtime is fairly equal.
Yeah, and in fact, I feel that the debate is already being hijacked.
Yes.
In that sense, right? For example, one issue that they could have really tried to give attention to is inclusive development, right? How exactly do you define inclusive development? I agree with you that at the end of that round, right, we we don't really have a clear understanding of how they want to approach inclusive development and how different it is, for example, from the concept of inclusive growth,
Yes.
right? Lenny, again, kudos to her. She tried to focus on disaster preparedness because that is one of our greatest obstacles insofar as development is concerned in this country. We're always vulnerable not to climate change and therefore natural
Yes.
catastrophes.
Yes, and she mentioned all of those in
She
relation
did,
to
she
the
did,
in
she did.
relation to the
And she
dynasty.
did not go all out in defending the economic growth of the Aquino under the Aquino administration.
Yes.
Yeah.
Under Aquino government, she said that yes, we grew fast, but it hasn't reached yet majority of the poor. So in a way, she's not a robot,
No.
just defending the Aquino.
Apologist.
For the
She's not.
Aquino administration. So that's very refreshing, I think, to see it. She's
As opposed to the
behaving that
presidential
way.
candidate.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying, right?
Yes. And they're sort of they need to have again this time issue. We haven't heard a lot from Lenny Robredo because
Yes.
it's been for corruption all this time. And in fact, the fact that she hasn't been talking about corruption means people haven't been pointing at her as being corrupt. The reason why Bongbong.
Okay,
here you
we're
go.
back.
Yeah.
We're going back, and we'll bring you back to the CNN Philippines vice presidential debate.